Dear friends, welcome back. The machine I'm going to do together with you would be tomato 1. I like tomato. So the link will be added into the description section below so that you can download and play the machine. This machine is not easy. Anyway, before we go ahead, if you don't mind, please subscribe to my channel and leave a like below. You're greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's just get started. We can switch over to Linux VM. Maybe I need to zoom in the terminal so you can see what's going on exactly. The first thing to do is to discover the IP address of the target. The utility I'd like to use, as always, would be net discover. Press enter. So as you can see over here, the IP address of a target could be identified as 153. So what are we going to do next? We need to do the port and surface scanning with a map. To save time of this video, I've already done that earlier. So for now, we just cut out its result. As you can see over here, I used the options like scene scan, the virtual scan, the default script scan, followed by the -p- to do the full range port scan. The last option of all is ON to output the result into this file. Although the IP address, as you can see over here, has been changed from the first time when I did the machine. So from the map scanning, we can tell that the target has 1, 2, 3, 4 open port number in total. And we can go through each of them. The first one is 21, which is running FTP service and also the version information, including exact version number. And then second one is 80, which is running HTTP service and also the version information, Apache 2. And the next one is 2211, and which is running SSH service and also the version information. So I think it's very important we need to put the -p- to do the full range port scan. Otherwise, maybe this port number cannot be recognized successfully. Although this version of OpenSSH is not a very new one, however, I don't think we can find any vulnerability except the username enumeration vulnerability, which is not what we are looking for. And the last one is a 48, which is running HTTP service and also the version information injects. So what are we going to do next? I think we should start with the FTP service enumeration, because as I stated in the other videos, assume that you have already followed my channel. If the target has file sharing service running on the target, for example, like FTP, like Samba, such a service should be the first choice to enumerate. This case is FTP. Also, from the default script scanning with FTP service, we can tell that this target doesn't allow anonymous login. Okay. However, next we need to check whether this version of VS-FTPD has vulnerability or not. Just any one exploit, but this one is denial of service exploit. This is not what we want. We want to penetrate into the machine and get the control over the machine. Okay, so I think we need to move on to the next port number 80, which is running HTTP service, or we need to enumerate the web application. Although there are two web applications running on the target, we should start from this one, and let's open up our browser to do the enumeration manually. Press enter. So we can got the page back, the very beautiful picture of a tomato, and we can save image to our working directory. And also we need to check its or view the page source, because sometimes source code can reveal something important. But nothing here. And also we need to check whether this site has robots file. Not found. So next, I think we need to take time to analyze this picture or image to see whether there is anything we can get or extract from the image. And so let's pull up the terminal, because we now we can use the command line to do such analysis. For example, the first one is Exif2, and this utility will display or print out the metadata of this picture. And also, I think this one, Exif2, is also very useful. Very useful open source intelligence tool. And this can display the metadata of the file like a PDF document or the images, okay? But here, come back to this file, nothing we can get in terms of the useful information. So next we can use stack height to see whether we can, whether there is any hidden message inside this picture, no passphrase. And also we can use stack seek, and this will try to break the password for this picture or passphrase, but fail to do. And next we can use bin walk to see whether there is, we can extract some file from this picture. And the image, nothing. So also we can use strings to see whether there is any readable characters of this picture. But we cannot get anything. All right, so I think we have already done almost everything with this picture or this image. And next we need to do some automatic enumeration. For example, we can use Nicto to do the automatic, not HTTPS, just normal HTTP. The Nicto not only can enumerate out some common files or directories, also in some case can give us the vulnerabilities information about the web application, which is very important, okay? But here we cannot get anything like that. So to save time, I'd like to interrupt it. So next we can use GoBuster to do the directory enumeration, and we can use the U to specify the URL of the target. And we can use the W to specify the word list. As you know, I always start with this word list, GoBuster. PHP, HTML, text, press enter. So in the meantime, I'd like to make some very brief summary on how to make or techniques to enumerate the directories or files. The first one I always prefer is GoBuster, because this is coded in Go language, which is fantastic. I always use this one. And another one is DearBuster, DearB, and also DearBuster, and this is the GUI, and also we can use DearSearch. Okay, sometimes, in a very rare situation, we need to use different techniques or different tools to make brute forcing against the directories, okay? I think for the directory enumeration, first one, the first issue we need to think about is the tool, okay? And another one, also which is also very important, is word list. Okay, sometimes we need to combine different, or we need to use different word lists, because especially in the CTF-like machines. Okay, so now we can go back. Nothing we can get from the GoBuster. Nothing, right? Except this very default page, index.html. So I think now we can move on to the next port number. Okay, let's print out the map again. Another one is 888, which is also running HTTP service, and we can 888. And we are required to provide the username and password. Of course, we can use the username admin, and also the password is admin. Cannot log in or cannot sign in successfully. And also we can try to use admin as a username. Password is password. Sign in. So I think at this moment we cannot do anything with this port number. I mean the 888. It's time to go back to the port number 80, because this is the only possible entry for us. Okay, maybe we need to switch our word list. And to be honest, when I did the machine the first time, I tried so many different word lists, and one word list can give us very useful output. So this one is under second lists and the discovery and web content and comment text. Let's press enter. As you can see, immediately the GoBuster can discover this directory, and we can copy. And now we can access this directory. And there is one subdirectory anti-boards. And there's some files like license, nothing useful, and info this is the information about the PHP which is running on the target, and about the settings, but now nothing returned. Table, visitors, nothing. Dashboard, so nothing. So I think if we go back to the info, this page, and if we check the source code, source code is sometimes is the gold mine for the pen tester. As you can see over here, there is one comment, and we need to pass the arguments or the parameter image. Okay, so maybe this page, I mean the info.php, has file inclusion vulnerability, right? So now we can, for example, we can pass the image parameter. Now we can check whether this web application, this page, is vulnerable to local file inclusion vulnerability. Let's press enter. You can scroll down. As you can see, we successfully retrieved the password file, which means the target indeed is vulnerable to the local file inclusion vulnerability. Also, we can copy the entire URL, and we can use Q. This would be much clearer for us to know. Okay, as you can see, now that we have already confirmed the target is vulnerable to the file inclusion vulnerability, so what do we have to do next? We need to, the goal here is to get initial foothold, but before we go there, we need to do something. For example, we can find this normal user. We can copy. And next we can check whether this site has private key. This user has private key. Tomato SSH directory. No. And next we can check whether we can retrieve his bash history file, because such a file sometimes can give us very important information, but not this case. So next we need to check whether we can access log file like log and authentication log. This log will store all authentication logs, for example, like SSH login information? Yeah, we can, as you can see over here. So I think now it will be very clear what we can do. We need to poison this log file. So how to do? We can use the SSH, and we can use the web shell as username to log into the target. Okay, let me show you the PHP and the system. The get parameter cmd. Okay, and target IP address. Of course, we need to specify the port number because the machine, the target, doesn't use default one. 22. Press enter. However, now the new Linux, will have some check on the username, or on the username to see whether there is any invalid characters. Of course, one way is we can use the older Linux distribution to do our job, to do our pen testing. However, I'd like to show you another easy way to do. Okay, let me show you in action. We can use the Metasploit. The Metasploit has one module which can access the SSH, access the target via SSH. Okay, so now we can use search SSH. Of course, there's so many output. So we can use another technique, although I have already demonstrated this technique. Search name, the module name include the SSH, and also I know this module falls into the category of the auxiliary rather than exploit. Auxiliary. Okay, so now the output will be more precise, right, or concise. Okay, so this one is I'm looking for, and we can copy this module, and then we can use this module. Then we can show options. We can set the remote host to our target, and we can set a remote port number to 2211, and also we can set the username. This case is our malicious payload, and we can use the same payload, $PHP, and the system get cmd. Cmd is parameter name. And also we can set password. Password can be anything. Yeah, anything. And now what we just want to, or poison the log, or store the username. This username is malicious payload, and this malicious payload will be saved into our authentication log. Then afterwards we can access this log, and at the same time we can pass the parameter cmd. Then it means that we can utilize the web shell for our purpose. Okay, so now we can run it. It's done. Of course, this will not be successful, So now we can go back to our browser and access the log file again. Author log. And at the same time, we need to pass the parameter cmd. And for example, like ID. Scroll down to the bottom. I can see the ID has been retrieved successfully. So what can we do next? We need to run reverse shell command and to get the initial shell on the target. Okay, let me show you. But before we do that, we can set up the listener on the Linux first. And this listener will be waiting for the collection from the target. We can set up the listener. Okay, the listener has started. So now we can, of course, you can get some command. For example, the first one, we can try to use the netcat and followed by the IP address of the Kali Linux. For the number, press enter. But doesn't work. And next, we can go to the Pentesting monkey website. You can try some different commands. For example, like copy this one and paste in our notebook and make some modifications. So the IP address of our Kali Linux and the port number, and we can copy. And then we can, we can use the bash and paste at the end, press enter. It doesn't work. So next we can try the Python. So we need to check the Python, whether the Python is available or not. We can check Python 2. But Python 2 is not available on the target. So how about Python 3? So how about Python 3? Python 3 is there on the target. So next we can, we can use the command of Python to get a shell. Okay, so we can copy the command. We can copy, and then we can paste on my notebook. And this should be Python 3 rather than Python 2. And also we can copy IP address of Kali Linux and paste in here the port number 555, and we can copy the entire line of reverse shell command, and now we can put in the address bar at the end. So now we can press enter. It looks like as you can see the status, it's working. And as you can see over here, we have already got a collection from the target. And then we can get the more interactive shell by Python 3, import pty module, pty spawn, bin bash. Okay, it's done. So next we need to do some local emulation. Go to tomato, SSH. How about the bash? We do not have permission to access the bash history. How about the SSH? Permission denied. So how about the sudo? No. Of course, we do not have password for the, even this www data doesn't have password. So we tried 3 incorrect password attempts, and we need to, and also how about the kernel? The kernel is 4.4.0. It's a bit old, so I think we can find the local exploits, the kernel exploits. But before we try that, I'd like to make more emulation. For example, go to OPT, nothing there. How about var? Go to the backups, nothing there. Go to www. Go to HTML subdirectory. Go to ntboard. Ntboard email. Ntboards. Nothing there. Maybe we can use the script to do the automatic emulation, right? We can copy no, open up another tab, what I'm doing, what I'm saying. So we can, of course, I've already got this script ready. So now we can upload this file onto the target. And to do that, we can set up a web server on the Kali Linux by Python. And now we can use wget to upload npairs. And then we can make it executable, and then we can run it. You know, when we try to make lateral movement or privilege escalation, in most cases, we need to take use of or make use of this script, npr script, when the target machine is Linux, because this can make automatic enumeration from various aspects. For example, like SUID binary information, the capabilities of binaries. As you can see, it's done. Now we can scroll up. SUID binary, but nothing. Cron job information, process information. Oh, there's so many kernel exploits. Of course, we can try for example, like a dedicount2, exploit manually. However, before I try this one, I'd like to use Metasploit. Metasploit is more powerful and can make such things to be more convenient. So I always try to use Metasploit first. If the Metasploit cannot work, then we can go back to try the exploit, kernel exploit manually, okay? And before we do that, we need to create the payload with MSF Vulnhub. And we can use MS, maybe I can zoom in the terminal. MS Vulnhub. And the Linux 64 Metpreter, and we of course we need to use different port number or free open port, free port number on the Kali Linux. We can press enter. All right, the payload has been created by MSF Vulnhub. And next, we need to upload this payload onto the target. We can use the same way to upload met ELF. And we need to make it executable. Before we run this payload, we need to set up the handler on the Kali Linux first, so we can launch another Metasploit console. Okay, it's done. Then we can use exploit multi-handler. We can use auto-completion feature to auto-complete the limb or the path, okay, to save our strings. And now we can set a payload. This payload should be the same as this one. So for me, I always copy and paste here. There will be no mistake. And we can show options. We can set a local host to our Kali Linux and set a local port number. This port number must be the same as this one when we create the payload. And then we can run it. The handler has started. So now we can run or execute this payload on the target. The MetaPret session 1 opened, and we can background this session by pressing keys, the Control and Z on the keyboard. Yes, and now we can search suggester module, and we can use this module. Okay, and now we can show options. The only option which is required to configure, set the session number to 1, and we can run it, and this module will collect all local exploits for the target machine. So now it's collecting exploits. Then he will do some checks on those exploits. So we got the first result. Although the result is not very certain, the target appears to be vulnerable. At least we can try, right? It deserves our efforts to try anyway. So when it's done, then we can try one by one. And if Metasploit cannot work, then we can go back to, the manual exploitation. For example, we can download the exploit code. Always such code would be, the C code or shell script. So we can try this one. We can use this one. And then we can show options. We can set a local host to our Kali Linux. And we need to set different port number or unoccupied port number on the Kali Linux. And we also need to set the session number to 1. And then we can run it to see whether this module can work or not. It looks like it's working perfectly. This module adds a job, and this will take up to 120 seconds. Of course, no problem, we can wait. Just to, as you can see, MetaPret session 2 opened. And we can get the user ID, which is root. Wonderful. We can also, if you want, we can get the command shell session and Python 3. Okay, so now we can go to the root directory and get the proof flag. So I think that's all I'm going to do. I'd like to do in this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Have a nice day. Please.